Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be just a pretty chill vid. As you already probably can tell, this is not a scripted video. I normally write scripts for all my videos, and this is obviously not one of them. But I wanted to take some time to just talk about the game, answer some questions, and actually do that on the YouTube channel, because I haven't really done that in a long time. I do it on my Twitch, and you can come in there and ask me questions anytime. But, you know, a lot of people don't have time or care for Twitch streams, which is fine. So, I thought I'd do this on the channel. So, I made a few posts. When did I do this? Like last weekend, I think? Yeah, last weekend. And you guys sent in a lot of good questions that I'm going to get to today. First, though, I think I'm just going to take a minute to talk about how I'm feeling about Deadside right now. Because I've been on the development team for, what, 4 months now? 5? 4? About? And, well, I haven't really talked about it all that much, you know? And I will say, before we really get into it, I am more hopeful for Deadside than I've ever been. There was times in the past where I was pretty worried about the success of this game. Namely, the DDoS attacks early last year. That was a rough patch. There was no updates for a long time. We've come a long way since then. The team's been accomplishing a lot. We're getting monthly updates out with some content, not a huge amount of content, but, you know, that's how it works whenever you do monthly updates, right? And it's good. I think the community really enjoys that. The roadmap has also helped a lot, and, you know, there are some things in the roadmap that haven't been done yet, and I'll get to that, and I am a little worried about some things on the roadmap, but I think for the most part, I am confident that Deadside can do what it needs to do to really be successful, right? It's just the only problem is that it takes time, which, I mean, that's not really a problem, that's just how game development works. It doesn't happen overnight. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't know, I feel like, so, Deadside still has a lot of the same problems it did about a year ago. Just not very much content, the gameplay loop is not exactly a loop, more like a straight line. or maybe like going uphill. It's not a loop. You go up the top of the loop, and then you can't get all the way over. It's gotten a lot better. Ratings helped with that, but it still doesn't have a true gameplay loop. There really aren't any gear syncs just yet. But there are a few things that are gonna be done pretty soon. I mean, I'm confident that stuff like vehicles, weapon durability, all that stuff, that'll get done before the end of the year. I'm very confident in that. I've been watching the team make progress. There's no, like, set dates for any of this stuff. The team doesn't even know when it's going to be done. It's just done when it's done, you know? But, you know, I think this year is totally reasonable, if not early next year at the latest. But alright, imagine this, right? Deadside with weapon durability, and I would assume durability on other items as well. That would act as probably not maybe the main gear sinks, but one of the main gear sinks, right? Being able to repair, disassemble items, if that's how it ends up working, that's gonna be really, really good. And I know a lot of people aren't a fan of durability, but it kind of needs to be there. There's a reason every major survival game pretty much does this. It's because you need things to despawn at some point, right? Tarkov does it, DayZ does it, I think Rust does it, I'm not entirely sure. It might not, and that might be why Rust wipes like every month at the latest, so there's that. Rust is kind of an exception. I haven't played Rust in a long time, so there's that. I mean, even Minecraft has durability, you know? So it needs to get put in there, I think, and it's going to be nice when it is. It's going to add a lot of depth to the game, right? You're going to be spending time grabbing, crafting materials, you're going to be repairing your guns. You'll have a lot more to do than just getting gear and then killing people with it. You have to get gear and maintain the gear. It'll be fun. Oh, and vehicles, of course, right? Vehicles are going to be huge. People have been asking for vehicles for a very, very long time, and I don't think it is the most important feature. I actually think weapon durability is more important than vehicles in my opinion, but they're both very important. When it's done, it's going to be pretty nice. Somebody did mention a while back that, boats should have already been in the game by now. I mean, I think it was Q2 is our original release window for that, and, you know, we didn't get it done in time. I don't know what to tell you. We still don't have a release window for it. That was just our best guess at the time. Well, it's done when it's done, I guess, right? But yeah, I mean, vehicles like boats, cars, also gonna add a lot of depth to the game. It'll make base building more important, so you can store those vehicles. And you know, base building is going to be improved as well, so, I mean, you're starting to see all the pieces come together, right? Because I am. I don't know about you guys, but weapon durability, base building, vehicles, there's other stuff in the background that I can't really talk about. But all the pieces start to fit together, you know? But yeah, once those pieces are fit together, we can start to talk about some more unique features that aren't exactly important to the game, like maybe weather events, different AI factions, and those things should be made alongside the development of the major features as well, like new weapons and new events and stuff. But I think you see what I mean. Once the core features are really in there, I think Deadside's going to be pretty solid. Of course, there's still a few issues that need to be worked out. I'm not sure how I feel about the respawn system at the moment. Even after playing it for so long, I really do like that you can respawn anywhere without rep points, but I still don't know if I like the fact that somebody can respawn right next to where they died in a lot of cases. I don't know. I play solo a lot, and while fighting squads, it's kind of a struggle because they're constantly running back to their body, and it's manageable. Don't get me wrong, it's not like game breaking, it's just a little annoying. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. I think all that maybe needs to be done is maybe have the red circle again. Maybe not even that big of a circle. We're talking like 300 meters, 400 meters. Just something to prevent people from respawning in the town they just died in, you know? I don't know, it's not a big deal, personally. I don't think it's a huge problem. There are some base building issues, of course. I'm sure you guys know about the object block. This is pretty bad right now. They're working on it. It's actually a priority right now. There's alt account bases, there's people moving gear to other bases. There's some shenanigans going on there, which we are working on a solution to. Deadside has such a unique rating dynamic that making fixes for stuff like this isn't exactly very simple, especially considering that base building isn't finished, so the changes you make now need to still apply to the future, right? But yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling really good about it. I think a lot of people are too. I think a lot of people are feeling better about the game, a lot of the old regulars. They might not be playing the game, which is fine. I've always said taking a break from Deadside is totally fine. You should probably do it, honestly, when content is a bit slow. You don't want to play it so much that you get totally burnt out on it. I think I might have done that to myself with Tarkov. I have 1,700 hours in Tarkov, and after playing this most recent wipe, I just kind of wasn't feeling it, you know? It was all the stuff that I've done 5 times over, and even though there's a lot of cool features, it just kind of kept me from playing the game. But to be fair, Tarkov is tedious as hell. It's super, super tedious compared to Deadside, so, there's that. I've actually been playing a lot of DayZ recently. It's been pretty damn fun. The MF servers have been pretty good. I've been wanting to stream it. I might make a video on it, though. We'll see what happens there. Oh, for anybody wondering, we're still working on the recoil. A lot of people asked me in my last update video with the recoil in it. They were kind of worried, which, you know, that's understandable. Seeing major changes like that happen is such a core aspect of the game. I mean, I would want to know more information. I'd want it to be handled well. And a lot of people were worried it was going to be super complicated like Rust, right? And I'm sure you guys all know the old AK Rust recoil, where it goes up and then to the side, back down again. That's not what Deadside's new recoil is going to be like. I would say, if you're going to compare it to any game, it's most similar to Squad, except it actually has a little bit less well, not a little bit, actually. In some cases, a lot less recoil than Squad. But yeah, I'd say it's like Squad with a little mix of, more predictable recoil, because Squad is kind of random. We want this to be more predictable, right? I'm not saying you guys should all like it. I'm sure some people just won't. They might just like the old recoil better, which is fine. I mean, I don't blame them. Everybody has their own opinions, but I don't think it's going to be like game-breaking or anything. We've been doing a lot of testing with it. I can't remember how many. There's been internal tests, and there's been tests with the on the closed test server with the private testers in the Discord. We've done a lot, and we've come a long way. I think a lot of the private testers can attest that the first iteration of our new recoil was absolute garbage. It was terrible, but I mean, it was kind of like that on purpose. I'll get more into that in the standalone recoil video, but we are testing it with the testing groups, and we're getting a lot of feedback. I don't think it's going to be terrible. I'm honestly really excited for it. It might take a bit to get used to it, but I don't know. I think it'll be a good change. And if people end up not liking it, we can change it even more. We can make it less, you know? It's not like this one recoil change is going to be permanent. We can adjust it, you know? So don't worry about it. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much all that's been going on right now. I think we should start getting into some of the questions, and I think this is going to be probably the most interesting part of the video for a lot of you, so let's just go ahead and not waste any more time, huh? Before we get into the questions though, this comes with a huge disclaimer, so please pay attention to this. Whenever I say a feature you guys suggest is a cool idea, I might even say, yeah, I think that might be added in the future at some point. That's simply just me saying, I think it will be added, not that it will. There's a big difference there. I'm just theorizing about the game years in the future, alright? So, I'm not confirming anything new in this video, I'm not promising anything, I'm also not saying anything won't be added. I'm just here to, give my input on ideas, and that is all. So, I'm gonna start reading the questions from the Discord first. We'll start with Magman, and he says, he has quite a few questions. Number 1, does it make any difference to the enemy, I'm assuming he's referring to AI, whether you're crouched or standing, is their detection range going to be the same? Good question. So, if you're doing a mission and you're crouching or standing, if you're crouching, they will have a harder time to find you. It is 100% true. You'll notice this if you ever are sniping at a mission from far away. If you're crouched, the bots won't shoot back, but if you're standing up, a lot of the times they will. So there you go. It definitely does affect their detection range, 100%. By how much, I'm not sure, but there you are. 2, does hiding in a bush make any difference, or do enemies not know there's a bush there? No, bushes do nothing at the moment. Well, that's actually not true. So it depends on the bush. Well, a lot of the bushes are not thick enough, basically, and the AI can see right through it, but there are some cases where the bushes are thick enough that they can't see you anymore, and they do use some sort of actual vision. If you go on the Deadside official YouTube channel, you can actually see some early testing of AI and see that some bushes definitely do block the vision of the bots. It's just, a lot of them don't really do that, and I have a feeling a lot of the more difficult bots, like the heli AI and the convoys, they probably have a lot better vision. So, in any case, I wouldn't use concealment, or really any sort of concealment against AI. I would use solid cover. Bushes are not a great way to avoid being shot. Is there going to be a system implemented that will help PvP for the scenario of the player that is hiding behind a bush that isn't rendered in for the opposing player, because they either have their graphics turned down too low or because it's just out of the render distance? Oh, I think I see what you mean. I think this has more to do with the actual streaming engine of Unreal and the way things are loaded in. I don't know if there's going to be a system added for PvP specifically. I think more what you will see is just as the game gets more optimized, we can load more things in, and then those sort of bushes will pop up no matter what your graphics are at. I mean, like I said earlier, concealment is a lot worse than actual cover, so I would probably not depend on any sort of bush to save you. In any PvP, I would sit behind a tree pretty much always, or in front of a tree. But as for actual development plans, I can't tell you. I'm not really sure if that's something that's 100% needed. I don't think it's a huge issue. I just think as the game gets more optimized, that problem will kind of just solve itself, you know? Alrighty, next question from Vuxi. 1. Will there be a keycard system in the bunker, or possibly another location at some point? As for other locations, like more bunkers, I would think so, at some point in air quotes. We're going to see more interesting military locations. As for a keycard system, I really like that idea. I know a lot of people on the team like that idea, so I'm going to say yeah, but it's not confirmed, right? I'm not confirming this is going to be added. I'm just saying that a lot of people on the team think it's a cool idea. I hope you get what I mean, alright? Maybe really far in the future. I don't think that's going to happen super soon, but if it did happen, it'd be a long ways away. Still, I think it'd be super cool. 2, is there going to be more weapons added to make the diversity of fights more interesting? Yes. 100% there's going to be more weapons. When? I'm not sure. The reason there hasn't been any new weapons added in a very long time is because the core weapon systems like audio, attachment storage, recoil, some of the animations, they all needed to be updated. So when it comes time to update all those things, if you add a bunch more guns, you have more guns that you have to update, and it's a lot harder and more time consuming. It makes more sense to fix the core mechanics first before adding more onto it, right? Anyways, 3. Weapon damage rework, i.e. UMR shouldn't be the strongest automatic weapon in the game with virtually no recoil. Drawbacks, that's not true. It is not the strongest automatic weapon in the game, maybe for the price. I would argue that the AKM right now is a lot better than the UMR. It's more common. The ammo's everywhere, has no recoil, does more damage, kills a lot faster, more effective versus armor. But the UMR is pretty solid too. Weapon damage rework. I don't know. I mean, I'm the guy that works with weapons, right? And you guys know I've spent a very, very long time studying the weapons in Deadside and working out how damage works. And I'm not really sure. I do have some ideas when it comes to weapon damage, but I think for now it makes more sense to see how the recoil changes work and then change damage afterwards, because guns like the UMR are going to be, well, like you said in this question, you said the UMR has virtually no recoil. Well, now it's going to have some. So that's one way to balance weapons. I'm not sure damage needs to be touched just yet, but maybe in the future it could be cool to touch up headshot damage. I feel like headshots are not really all that rewarding. I mean, think how many times you aim for the head when you're sniping in Deadside, if the person has armor. I mean, pretty much never, right? Because it doesn't really do that much better than hitting in the chest. Maybe if it's close quarters combat, sure. If you're using a shotgun, sure, but I mean, it's not like Tarkov where you absolutely have to hit the head to kill somebody, right? I'm not saying this game should be like that, but I don't know. It's a hard one because I also don't want to buff snipers, right? And making headshots more rewarding will, by extension, make sniping headshots more rewarding and more effective, so I don't know. I think, like I said earlier, let's wait and see how the recoil thing works out, and if some guns still need to be balanced in other ways, then we can start changing damage, but I think for now, let's just leave it as it is. Alright, next question. We got Zaya Fox. I recognize you from the streams. Has the learning curve of becoming a developer influenced or helped you realize what a game developer is all about? I mean, yeah. I mean, simple stuff, right? You don't think of when you're a player, like how, if you're a developer at home, how do you work with other developers on other computers if you're editing the same thing? How do you get those two edits to combine into one main game? And that's when you start getting into subversion control and master subversion servers and stuff like that. That was something I didn't really think of, but it's actually a big thing when you're developing, is working with subversions and branches and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, it has helped me realize what game developers do and what it's really all about. Has becoming a developer changed your view on the game at all? Absolutely. I get to see the plans of the other developers, the plans for the future, how they work. I think I mentioned that earlier in this video. I'm a lot more confident in Deadside than I was before. And speaking of changing my view on the game, knowing how almost every system in the game works from the actual game project really does change how you play it when you're just playing it normally. It's hard to describe, it really is, but I think you guys know what I mean, right? I don't know, it's hard to put into words, but yeah, when I'm playing the game, it's definitely a lot different. I mean, I have a core understanding of almost everything that's happening in front of me. Some things I'm still yet to understand. There are some complicated systems, but yeah, it definitely affects how I play and how I view the game, 100%. And it's for the better. It's a good thing. I'm happy with it. Would I ever do a video on the statistics of items or missions? Probably not because I don't want to, but because it changes a lot. It would be irrelevant in like 2 to 3 months, so there's really no point. It makes more sense to keep things more general. Maybe in the future when it's just done, I could do that, but for now, it doesn't really make much sense to, unfortunately. Not a question, but thanks for being so chill all the time. You're a good person who brought so many people together. Well, thank you. You guys are the best. I appreciate that, man. Alright, next up, we got Metal Foil. Will the next map expansion, whenever that may be, include a server size boost? Maybe. I don't know. To be honest with you. But I don't think those two things are necessarily connected. I think that'll just happen whenever it's ready. The map will be expanded when the map expansion is ready, and the server size will be expanded when, well, the servers can handle it. Will there be new events that could be added like King of the Hill? Absolutely. Maybe not like King of the Hill, but new events, yeah, that's gonna happen. Super rare machine pistols. Ooh, like a Glock 18 or an APB, APS. It wouldn't be that good. It would definitely just be a for fun only weapon. It'd be like the Scorp, where it's just got insane recoil if you're, 5 feet away from somebody. We know that vehicles will be coming to Deadside someday. Does that mean we will have to scavenge around the map for car parts? And also maybe even one day be able to put armored parts on it. I don't know about armored parts. Scavenging for car parts, I would assume so. I mean, there's car batteries and spark plugs and machine oil already in the game, so they could definitely be utilized for that. As for the actual implementation of vehicles, I'm not really sure because the team really hasn't worked on it just yet. I can't really say how it's going to play out. They're still working on making the vehicles function from a netcode perspective, as they have been for a long time, so there we go. RPGs to make cargo boom. I mean, you got the GRM-40. I think the RPG would just be better version of that? I don't know, man. That is... How would you balance an RPG? Maybe it's like the only gun you can carry? And the ammo is... I don't know. Nah, probably not, honestly. It would just be too overpowered. Because this game has pretty realistic weapons, and if you know how RPGs actually function, they are very devastating, they're fast, they're powerful. So, I don't know, man. Maybe. I bet it'd be very useful for base raiding, though, more than making cars explode. More base building modules. Yeah, sure. 100% that's gonna happen. I know that's gonna happen. What modules they are, I'll leave that to your imagination, but, I mean, yeah, that's definitely planned. More DMRs. I don't know. DMRs are very hard to balance, because they almost always use very big rounds that go through armor. And I'm sure you guys know how painful the VSD has been for a long time, and balancing that thing. As for what DMR I would pick, there's a lot of HK417 variants. However, I really like the M39. I think it's really pretty. The tan version specifically. I'm not a fan of the black version, because then it just looks like a M14 EBR, which I don't really like. I like the M39, not the Mark 14. I don't know why, I just like the FD handguard. NVGs someday. Super rare night vision scope. I'm glad you mentioned this. So, I would think that's going to happen at some point in the future. However, I think we'd need to disable NVIDIA filters first. I'm sure you guys know that with filters you can make nighttime daytime. So there's really no point implementing NVGs if people don't need them, right? So I think a first step would be disabling NVIDIA filters, and then after that, sure. I think that'd be interesting too, because you probably wouldn't be able to have NVGs and a heavy assault helmet. I would think the actual tactical helmets would be a lot more useful in that case, because they're the only ones in the game that have the night vision dovetail mounts. Try and slip a loaf of bread into the game with a whole ass bakery shop too. Alas, they are, guys. Alright. Sin asks, is there going to be an Optic update in the future that will allow us to utilize all the features of scopes, i.e. changing the Pso Scope Color, utilizing the Optic on top of the hammer, changing reticles in the MSR, variable zoom? That could definitely happen, and there is some evidence in-game to support that. If you guys don't already know, the hammer scope in real life can have a delta point red dot installed in the top. That's what that little top ring is for. And that already exists in-game. If you're in South Safe Zone, it's just sitting here on the table. But actually doing that in practice is a lot harder than you would think. I'm sure you guys know how long it took to work out attachments on guns in storage. Now you would have guns with attachments, and those attachments have other attachments, and then they would all be put into storage. That sounds like a nightmare to program. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's safe to assume they'll do it at some point. They've already selected this scope and modeled this scope, and it's in the game, so I would also really like to change the Pso Scope Color. It's the only reason I don't use that scope all the time. It's very small, and because it's black, it blends in with a lot of other things, but if you could turn the actual light on to make it red, it would be so much better. And yeah, if you don't know, PSOs in real life can light up red. Variable zoom is an interesting one. I don't believe there's any scopes in Deadside, at least at the moment, that have variable zoom. I don't think there's any LVPOs or any... Well, no, I lied. The Alcan. The Alcan is a 1:4, isn't it? That would definitely make it a meta scope, though. Because it has every feature we're talking about here. You could do variable zoom, you could turn the red dot mode on, and it has iron sights on the top. Wait, hold on. I need to figure this out. Is the Alcan an LVPO? I think it technically is, right? I don't know. Have I ever thought about visiting the real Deadside landscape in Norway? If you guys didn't already know, the map of Deadside is based on a real-life location, kind of. Have I ever thought about it? No, not really. I mean, it'd be cool, but there's not really much to do there once you get there. Maybe one day super far in the future when I have the ability to do that, I could, maybe. Alright, next we have the Legendary King. Will we get new guns? Yeah. Will we get more silencers? Yes. When? Couldn't tell you. That was confirmed a long time ago. But yeah, we will. More armors. Ooh, okay. More armors. See, here's the thing, right? A lot of armor does the same exact thing. It's all just armor. So it's kind of hard to justify adding some new types of armor. Like, I see no reason to add IOTV Gen 4 or anything like that, because it's gonna be pretty much the same as Heavy Assault. But it would be cool to have more rare versions of similar armor types we have in-game. Maybe some sort of plate carrier that has more storage. That would be maybe assault armor tier, right? You could have 8 items and it would be assault armor protection equivalent, but it's more rare, if not as rare as heavy assault, right? That could be interesting. He also asks lore. There's pretty much no lore in Deadside. I don't know what to tell you. There just isn't any. There will be at some point, if that's what you're asking. What that's going to be, I don't really know yet. There is some Loaf's Bakery lore, though, specific to our server, if you don't already know. Commander Slug asks, will they be adding more missions and variety to them, like heavy NPCs, every couple epics or hard? I've already mentioned more events, but I'm glad you brought up heavy NPCs. There's a problem with that. When you make heavy NPCs, when they die, you can loot their stuff. So, say you have an epic mission, right? And you have a couple convoy bosses there, or convoy boss equivalent using good guns and good armor, then it just becomes the best mission in the game and everybody farms the bots and they never get the reward. A solution to this could be using durability. If you kill one of these boss NPCs, when you go to pick up the items, they're broken. Maybe they're only useful for getting those broken parts and disassembling them to repair armor you already have, right? You can take the broken heavy assault, use it to repair your current heavy assault, which would be good, but it's not like you're getting a whole new heavy assault vest. All you get is a broken one. Same could apply to weapons. And I know it's a little silly because it's brand new when you kill the bot and you walk up and all of a sudden it's destroyed, but I'd rather we have more variety in the AI enemies instead of just a tiny bit of realism, you know? Optics asks, will there be more convoy spawns in the south? Honestly, I'm not really sure, because convoys have to walk on roads and they kind of depend on cover, and a lot of the areas in the south are very, very open, so doing convoys down there would be terrible. So maybe if more dense areas are added, but I think the current south area, no, I don't think so. Alex7 asks, when cars will be added, will bots drive cars too? No, I don't think so, to be honest with you. I don't really see a reason for them to, because then you just kill the bot inside and then you have a free car, so probably not. Will the map size be increased when vehicles are added? I think the same thing applies to will the map size be increased when player count is expanded. I don't think those things are necessarily connected. I think those two things, map size and vehicles, will just be implemented when they're done and when they're ready. Not both at the same time. But you never know, it might just conveniently be done at the same time and I get proven wrong. Either way is fine. He also asks, will the trader, specifically the southern one, will the trader be moved further down south to spread out the safe zones, rather than keep them as close to one another as they are? I don't think so. I think it's more likely you just see a third safe zone added instead, because that area of the map is specifically designed to be a safe zone, so moving it would be a lot harder than just making a new one. Nojo asks, when boat? When it's done. Greek also asks, any other sniper rifles in the works or different ammo types? So as I mentioned, we're going to be adding new guns. I'm glad you asked. Of all the guns that I've recommended to the team, my favorite, and the one that I've stressed would be the most fun, is the VKS rifle, alright? So, this is the VKS. It is a straight pull, bolt-action rifle with a comically huge suppressor on the front, which I'm sure you guys have already noticed. And it's also a 50 cal. But it's not like the M99 50 cal, it's not 50 BMG. 50 BMG is 12.7 by 99, this is 12.7 by 55. So, it's still a 50 cal bullet, kind of, with a lot less powder behind it. I'm pretty sure the 12.7 by 55 cartridge is like if you took a 50 BMG bullet and shoved it inside of a 338 Lapua Magnum casing. I'm pretty sure that's the best equivalent. It's not technically correct, but there you go. Now, the funny thing about 12.7 by 55 is that it hits like a truck because it's 50 cal, but it's also subsonic. It's really slow, actually. It's a lot slower than subsonic. It travels at around 300 meters a second, which is barely faster than like 45 ACP. The accuracy is probably also around 1 MOA, so decent, but it's not sub-MOA, I don't think. I don't know, it's hard to find data on that. But the funniest thing about the cartridge is that it drops like a rock. I think it'd be funny to have this really quiet rifle that drops a ton and it's super slow, but it does an absurd amount of damage. I'm not talking like one tap 50 cal damage, I'm talking like if you hit somebody in the head it'll kill them, but in the chest it won't, that sort of thing. Like a Mosin that's really hard to use, but it does more damage. And it's also suppressed. And the VKS itself would be super rare, and so would the ammo. If you guys know the Ash 12, I know it's in some games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it's in Tarkov. It's basically that with a big suppressor as a bolt action. that's pretty much what it is. I know a few other people in the team have also said they really like this rifle, so I'm very hopeful it gets added one day. I really am. It might not, and I'm okay with that. But as for other sniper rifles in the works and different ammo types, that is my #1 pick. I think that would be awesome. Okay, so I'm going to move over to the YouTube community post questions now. So, Not Funny asks, are there any new guns planned? I just talked about that, but are any of the bad guns going to be improved? Bad guns like the BB-19, AKSM, not the cheaper weapon. Yeah, actually, with the new recoil update, both of those guns are not going to have very much recoil, especially the BB-19. The BB-19 for so long has had very high recoil for such a relatively small bullet, so you'll see in the new recoil it's going to have a pretty easy to control spray pattern. The AKSM will also be the same. It's one of the easiest AK platforms to control. So they'll be improved in that way, at least comparatively. They're still going to be very slow to kill people, but there you go. They also ask, are any semi-auto rifles planned? Yeah, a lot. A lot. There's a lot that I would like to add. Just to name a few, SKS, maybe SVT-40, I think I already mentioned the M39. So yeah, there you go. Okay, that was pretty much it for the YouTube community post. I know that was just one question, but a lot of them I've already covered from the Discord questions. But I know it's a little disappointing that I can't really confirm any features, but you guys know how it is. It's actually really not good for the game to reveal a lot of features before we have something to physically show. It generates more hype for the game if you can show a video or a picture or something with the reveal of some new feature, right? So there's a few questions here like, is this going to be added? Is that I just can't say one way or the other, because then it'll ruin the hype for when it actually gets revealed, if it does get revealed. I also don't want to promise anything that might not get added. Still though, I hope this video has been insightful in some way. It's been a while since I've just talked on my own YouTube channel, you know? It's all been gameplay or update videos, guides, all that stuff. Like, nah, I think it's time to just slow down a little bit and have a conversation, you know? Speaking of having a conversation, feel free to leave any comment in the comment section, more questions, more insights that you have. I'm definitely going to be going through the comments and reading them periodically and responding to. I know I haven't been the best at responding to some of my comments recently, but I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this video. So, thank you for listening to me just talk for however long this video ends up being. It's probably going to be kind of long. I really do appreciate it. And that's all I have for now. See you.